Now to take a look at political parties and their reputations is a political and media consultant, Makhosini Nkosi. Thanks very much for joining us. Welcome to you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so we're getting into an election cycle now, and one of the things that I noticed in the Zimbabwean election last year is Emmerson Mnangagwa and ZANU-PF. I could almost swear that they employed an image consultant because the statements that were being made and the way they were positioning things, and it was something new. We hadn't seen anything like that in Zimbabwe. But I'm wondering now with this election, because some people are saying it's closer than ever before, even though perhaps the polls might be suggesting differently. Are we going to start to see more image management in politics, particularly in this election cycle?
Well, I think that is happening already. There could be mismanagement. Sometimes there could be incompetence in the management of the image. But I think each and every political party would understand that for it to be successful, it has to be perceived in a positive way by voters, by its support base. So I think, we are moving in the direction where, that function within political parties will be more professionalized, because there isn't much business for people like me, because political parties pretty much do whatever they want to do inside the political party, even during elections, So I think the more we move towards the point of more debate being entrenched, where you'd say the ANC has launched its election manifesto, but how are we going to interrogate that manifesto? Because what we're seeing right now, to be honest with you, Peter, which is undesirable in my view, a political party will say this is our election manifesto. And, we will look at whether, they could fill a stadium or not. Did the people look happy? Did they cheer the president of that party, the leader of that party? And for as long as we, determine our politics and elections that way, we will not reach a point where political parties take issues seriously and that they prepare their own manifestos in such a way that, the manifesto tells you clearly what the party is going to do. There's a lot of...
I guess where I'm trying to go is, a voter might say, I hear what they're saying, but the way they're behaving is not consistent with my values. Might it become a problem where even if you've got the best manifesto in the world, if I can't trust your value system, either because half your members are in court on corruption charges, or they're doing billboards such as this, which are quite provocative, blood dripping. I mean, does that become one of those things that we're going to see more and more of people being conscious of values?
Yeah. Look, I think there are two parts to your question. Let me start first with, the values that a party demonstrates. If you take the EFF, for example, it's radical in its approach, even its policies, and I'm sure its manifesto, when it does get presented, it's going to be radical, and it speaks to the issues that you would expect black people to find to be resonating with them. But if you look at the electoral fortunes of the EFF, they don't reflect that. They don't control one municipality. They are sitting at 6%. Polls don't put them above 10%. And precisely the problem is that their tactics are not sitting well with a lot of the folks who are in rural areas and some townships, who are, by the way, very conservative by international standards. So when you come with a radicalism interrupting parliament, other people see they may be sympathetic to the cause that you're fighting, but they are not happy with your tactics. But with the EFF, their strategy is very simple. They are growing their own wood. They are growing the youth, because that's what they think.
Yeah.
When the young people who are young today come of our age sometime,
yes.
In a very long, yes, they will be voting for the EFF. So that's how they look at it. But let's look at what the DA did today with this billboard. It clearly is talking to the DA base, because the DA base hasn't been energized. With the election of Mmusi Maimane and him moving the DA towards the left a little bit, even with his rhetoric, evoking the name of Nelson Mandela when talking about DA election campaign. It just simply meant that there were people within the base of the DA who felt alienated. You'll see, for instance, that issues that the DA base would like the DA to be pushing are being driven by AfriForum.
Right.
For instance, on the question of land, because here you have Mmusi Maimane, who knows that in order to grow the DA and get black voters, you cannot alienate them on a matter as sensitive as the land question. So then the DA is found to be wanting. So I think with this campaign, it is energizing its base. I hear what my colleague from PRISA is saying. From a public relations point of view, for someone like you and me, for us who are not actively involved in politics, yes, we may have a view and a negative view, but if you talk to the DA voter base, they would like what they are saying.
All right, we've literally run out of time, so maybe in 20 seconds if you can answer this one. Has the DA, let's use that as a case study, suffered reputational damage? Because now we have Helen Zille tweets, we have Patricia de Lille, we have this. All of these things stacked together, might that say to some voter, I can't vote for this party anymore?
Of course. You see, the DA voter base is around 22%. Okay, what the DA is trying to do now is to grow it, and in order to grow it, you've got to grow it by talking to independents, by talking to black people who are perhaps disgruntled with the ANC. And if your message or if your positioning is that of a party that stands for white interests or that does not respect black people, you're not going to get those votes. But I still maintain, but insofar as energizing their own base, they're doing well, and that's how you win elections. You've got to energize your base and then look at independence later.
Makhosini Nkosi, I'm sure we're going to have lots of conversations all the way to May about this issue. Thanks so much indeed for coming through today.
Thank you.